It's going well, and the sound are all coming up. So we're just checking that again, and I think we're all good. Yeah, it's going well, and the sound are all coming up.
There you go.
Brilliant, fantastic. So we're all good and up and running and cooking. Wonderful time. Again, we're just gonna quickly back in, and those who are following us, apologies for it, and apologies to you guys as well for being a little bit not prepared. So again, we've got the quick introduction. Most people have heard about me and seen me before. So I'm Jabo Butera and one of the presenters of this show. And our again, with our disclaimer, the views and the presentation are strictly for the views and the ideas of the presenter and the guests, and not representing P-Town Radio as views of the radio station. Again, on the studio today, we're going to be talking about the journey of an entrepreneur. And in the house, I have two great people. Happy to call them friends and really privileged to have them as friends, but also amazing entrepreneur and business people. So they're talking from experience, and you'll hear a lot. We're talking about different. I'll let them explain more, and we'll dive into it. So without any further ado, let me get Benson to introduce himself first. Benson, please introduce yourself. What is it and what you do?
Yeah, so my name is Benson Campbell, and I'm the Executive Director for BNI in Devon. And we help people in business increase their visibility in the community through our business groups, which is focused on helping each other get referrals for their business. There's some side benefits to that in terms of business support, growth, community, relationships, accountability, and it just helps people find a pathway for them in their business.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for Benson. Dan, coming to you.
Me?
Yes.
I'm Dan Underwood. As I said previously, but obviously crackling stuff. I'm just a mid-30s, late 30s introvert who's had a bit of an entrepreneurial journey, but in professional terms, I'm a self-development business coach who specialises in visual mapping. So that basically means I help people help themselves in the sense of the who and the why, and the business is the what and the how, and bring them together in a visual way to actually help them communicate and master themselves.
Thank you very much. So for those who are listening and following us from all across the world, I hope this is going to be an opportunity for you to take something home that will help you in your journey as an entrepreneur, but also you can share. And I think that's what we're talking about here. You heard both of them, they're talking about utilizing the word help.
Yeah.
And sometimes that word with help and business, they don't match. People don't think it that way. They think business you take. But you both use that word help. So as entrepreneurs, as people been on that journey and sharing here, what is it you tell someone who's like just early stage of starting? I have ideas, I have all these things, and I want to go into business. How can you help?
So for me, it's always start with yourself. Again, as you go through business, you're the constant. Invest in yourself, understand what you're good at, and that will take time.
Yes.
And that it genuinely is about understanding your natural traits. Don't look at other people so much and going copying them. It's understanding, first off, how you communicate. The world's now so diverse and you can communicate in so many different ways. Invest time in what is comfortable for you.
Yeah.
You may not have to be the guy on stage talking. You may be the quiet person who can do really intimate stuff like a poet. Understand where you can talk from and to, and then grow out from that. When it comes to ideas in business, try and listen. Is that idea coming from outside of you? Are you trying to see someone else and copy? Or is it really down to your talents and you building from that? And when it comes to the word help, in business, there's two types of relationships. There's contractual or transactional, which are business, where it's like give and take, or there's a monetary exchange, or there's relationships, where they're long term, where you build those genuine relationships and friendships which are based on values and morals, which is a personal one. Again, it's the who and the why. People buy from people, not just businesses. So you need to understand where your values are and grow out of that and build those relationships. Don't always look at the business. If you want long-term success, invest in people. If you want short-term success, look for the money.
Your values.
Yeah.
Benson, you've seen so many people. You've seen so many businesses. You've helped so many businesses. When it comes to that individual, you as the business starter, what would you say to
I think so. Everyone's kind of different in terms of how you map their journey.
Yes.
So I spoke to someone this week. Wants to get started.
Mm.
I actually knew what his skill set was.
Yes.
But he was going off on a different path, and I said, "Why are you taking this journey? This is your skill.
Mm.
So your passion's here, and you're saying this." I said, "So what you're saying is you don't believe in yourself to do this." He says, "Well, I don't have the money for this." I said, "Well, so your challenge is actually about raising the money, not about going off and doing something else." So the minute that you have the conversation, and this is following the path.
Yes.
And then I suggested that you go and visit one of our groups. He's out this region.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, because what you're trying to do is peppercorn income, just trying to make enough money.
Yeah.
Your target audience, once you go to this meeting, will change because you'll see the size of the opportunity. And once you understand that market, then that's where you start to think differently. And so the whole point around what the opportunities are. So for most people, until you go into the marketplace and understand it, you can't see it. Mm. So therefore you say, well, yeah. And quite often when you say, well, how much do you need to earn a month? That then gets some clarity around what that market is.
That's the pain point.
Because that's the pain point, because you need to pay the bills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you carrying? What's the weight? Mm-hmm. And then start with that. But most people see that as a fear or almost an embarrassment sometimes. And you go, no, it's a motivation, it's perspective. So that's what you need. Use that as a guide to then manage your decisions. If you're being ignorant and going, I just want the world to see this side of me, hang on a minute, you're living a false life, and you're never really going to be successful in business because it's not lined up. Mm-hmm. If you can admit to people going, I'm carrying this weight, and here's what's motivating me, and they're going, they'll say me too. You'll find your people. A lot of people are so scared of failing or being seen as failing that they will do everything they possibly can to not have that safe face, in other words. Mm-hmm. But I've realized in business the most successful, authentic, long-term, mature relationships I've had are those people who fail early and go, I failed and I'm still failing, but not kind of eulogizing it as like a celebrity post, but it's realizing it's a human journey. You just have to find a way to make a living. And that's what business is. It's still you doing something, but not the other way around where you're trying to be somebody else.
So if I hear you well, it's more of sharpening yourself in who you are.
It's always that question.
Yes.
When anybody meets somebody, you can tell. Well, you've got a business network professional right in front of me, and you can tell a lot by someone if they ask you who you are or what you do. Where do they start?
No, repeat that. So when you meet someone, yes,
they will tell you where they are, and if they go, "Hey, what do you do?" then that says a lot about them. If someone goes, who are you, and take an interest in you, you understand the values, and you can see where the relationship goes very quickly.
The good question will be to ask, who are you?
Who are you? And because it's not defined based on what you look like, status. It's not a chess piece. They're not trying to figure out, are you bigger than me, smaller than me? They're genuinely interested on a human level. And if you want a genuine business relationship, healthy one, look for the people that ask and are interested in you as a person, because that's where the value will stay. It's like the grass you graze on. They're going to plant a seed and go, I'm asking my first most important question. In 30 seconds, I care about who you are. Then I'll grow to the what.
I think you're giving some amazing tips there and way of thinking. So here, it's not only in business you're talking about. It should be anything in life. Yeah. And I think let's say we're in that sector of business, you walk into a room where you get an opportunity to present your product. That's hence the networking. And you just mentioned something, Benson. You've got a long experience. You want to tell a little bit about BNI? What is BNI and what you run? You are the regional director of this organization. And that challenge with when you meet people and suddenly they go like, this is what I do, instead of paying attention of who you are. Can you?
Yeah, that's the difference between us as an organisation, because what happens is people visit our group, but actually we're a membership organisation. So you can visit the group, but actually what we ask for is we look to fill one category, one seat per category. So it's one plumber, one solicitor, one financial advisor.
Yeah.
And a typical networking group, you can go to a meeting and it could be 3 financial advisors.
Yeah.
The question is an interesting thing around what you do. Because actually what the question is, I'm about to make a decision on whether I invest time in getting to know you. That's the question. That's not what they say.
No.
The question is, what do you do? I'm about to make a decision whether I should invest time to get to know you. When you go, tell me about yourself, it's okay. Let's see where the path goes.
Yeah.
Let's go on a journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. And those that understand that get more from networking. The frustration around networking is, oh, you're at this event, I'm at this event. Is there something I can get from you now?
Mm.
And of course, there's no relationship.
Yeah.
So of course, it's transactional.
Yeah.
Do you need that service? No.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you're not going to buy from me. I'm going to move on.
It's a chess move.
Wow. Here it's more like I'm trying to listen for myself, but for those listeners, those who are watching and listening to us, these are amazing guidance. So the person, when they ask you, especially in the business world, they're saying to you, I want to know you and see if I can invest more time with you. Because it's not, I'm going to invest money in you, because that is my money.
Time is money. To the real people that really know, again, we've said this previously, understanding and knowing. People who understand think that there's one way to do things. The people who know actually are the artists. They will put themselves in front of you and ask their question. They will ask the questions that you have to in business, but they're coming from a place of genuineness, going, so who are you? There's something about you that I like that's beyond the obvious.
Can you develop on that understanding and knowing? Because earlier on there was no sound when you were saying about it.
Yeah.
Touch on it again.
So understanding is pretty much what you call like academic education. It's what you find in a book. It's very isolated. It's just facts, but really no real context. Knowing is doing. Knowing is you going out and feeling. It's like black and white versus color.
Yes.
You got more paint, and you find out how you do it. If you want to master anything, it's like swimming on the floor and saying, I learned how to swim. You're not actually doing anything. Yeah, you know the mechanics, but go in the water, you may realise it's colder than you think. That's where knowledge, memories, experience, and you grow as a person, because it's not isolated. It's not scientific. When you know something and know people, that's where truth lies. And you realise you can do business with people. You're better because you're real. You're not trying to be what you think you have to be. So understand something. You can do business networking sessions where they pretty much do the paint by numbers stuff. You go there and realise, I can't do any of that. I can do maybe 1 of the 10, because you're not coming from the right place. You're not being you and going, hey, I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going to ask my questions. And you may realise they're the questions you need to ask, because you're not meant to know everything at once. And even those you think that know, they don't know. The reason why they're there is because they know they don't know everything. It's quite a mysticism.
Wow, that's interesting, because what we find most of the time is the fear. And then because you think you don't know, then you stop going.
Yep.
Or you spend more time in trying to understand.
Yep.
And then you're forgetting the knowing of yourself. Benson, you have that wisdom of knowing.
So the thing is, it's called social compliance. So you don't know any different. You go to an event, you observe the room and thinking, right, this is the way everybody else is behaving, so this is the norm. Of course, then what you do is you take that behaviour and go and repeat it somewhere else. Until someone actually shows you a better way,
right,
you will always follow that social compliance when you go into anything new. Because you're driven by, I don't want to look stupid. I want to kind of fit in and not stand out.
Yes.
Or you get the person that says, let me understand, is that the really way? Or based on values, you go, I don't want to work like that.
Yes.
I'm looking for something different. And that's why some people reach out to us, because they go, we've been to all the different networking events. We understand that this is a route to market, because it is a marketing strategy, but that's not the way that I want to do it at these other events.
Yeah.
And those events are perfectly fine for people that want to socialise, want a bit of visibility, but you'll never get credibility without deepening the relationship. It's impossible. All you've got is you're just visible. And ultimately, understanding is about, if you ever want to grow your business, to recruit a marketing consultant to do digital marketing for you, you have to understand some elements of it. Or how do you make an informed business decision? I'm going to engage you to do this for my business. There has to be some element of understanding. And it doesn't matter whether it's marketing or another facet, HR, whatever it is. That's why understanding is important. I know what kind of this should look like, and this helps me to ask some questions to give me some peace of mind around that business objective decision. But I don't want to be the master at that, so that's why I'm outsourcing it. And that's why some people get held up because they think they need to be a master at digital marketing. I also have the skill to run their business, and I need to do operations. You're going, that's not your skill set, especially for those people that are very creative. They're in a different world. Listen, and we're all guilty of it to a certain degree. We try and do this, and actually outsourcing is a good thing. And of course, people go, well, it's costing me money. No, it's an investment. You're freeing up time to go and generate that income somewhere else, or get that time back to do something else within your business. And once you understand that, you're not spending any money. You're investing in your business.
You're investing back in your business. Wow, that's very interesting. That conversation. What is coming in my mind? I'm looking, saying, for me to be able to acquire this knowledge vs the understanding, what room shall I go into? Or there are many ways of learning, especially particularly when it comes to changing your own way you understand or the way you work. Because are we saying everyone is born to be entrepreneur, or you can learn it? Is there any tools for it? What do you think?
I think everyone has talent. They just maybe don't know where to apply themselves. Entrepreneurship has always been there because people have found a way to create industries because that was their passion. If you look at any kind of pillar on anyone who's moved the needle or whatever, they've always done it with a heart. They may have a head that's clever to be the mechanic, the engineer, but it's always a passion. As a child, you look at Jobs or anyone else really, and you go, they had a question that they were asking that wasn't answered. That's where they're coming from.
Right.
And the next thing is, what do you do about it? And they start asking questions, which is coming from them. They're not, again, they took what they thought they knew in the sense of understanding, and then they started to make their own version. So entrepreneurship is just another version of that. How many digital marketers do you know? Tons. Why would you buy one over the other? It's the who. It's something about them. It's their voice. It's their feel. It's like a music, same thing. Entrepreneurship is the fingerprint of the person doing it. So the question is not what you do, how you do it. And it's the person, that's the magic.
That's really interesting, because that question of, I'm sure many people have had that question in yourself when you're younger, saying, how this happen? Or you are curious about this, and you're saying, it's not working, how can I make it work? So is that curiosity which is in every human being? It's just how we explore it more. And I think most of the time is also what I found is once you go in that journey of exploring it, and I think, Benson, you touched on it, you find someone who's going to get an advice or going to hear from the mate down the pub and tell them about their dream. Do you think they're going to go anywhere with that?
This is why so many people don't start. Through ego, I would say, to a certain degree, jealousy, envy, I'd love to do that kind of mindset. Quite often, people are talked out of going and starting a business because the people they're talking to are on PAYE, and they have no vision of taking a risk, so they're not risk averse in the first place. It's like, why would you do that? You've got a good job. Well, do you know what? If you do it and you triple your income, you wouldn't be complaining, would you? But through envy, what will also happen is you will also have to move out of that group to grow. And that's what they're fighting. You will move on.
Yes.
You can't go from a 20, 30,000 pound income to £100,000 income and carry the people you were already in. Because you've got to find new people to actually be able to grow to that level. Because ultimately, you had a vision, you had an idea, and people have to put building blocks in place. Ultimately, the true value of entrepreneurship is actually, does your business work without you?
Oh,
that's the mastery at the end. Sacking yourself.
That's
the
your
final
business
matter.
work
Does your business work
without
without
you.
And can you do it for 30, 60, 90 days? And your business still be fine. So ultimately, that's true. Otherwise, you've just got a job.
Yeah.
So there's lots of people think that they're entrepreneurs, but actually they're the ones doing the work.
Yes.
And if they don't do the work, there is no income coming in.
Yeah.
And so that label kind of gets confusing to a certain degree.
Yeah.
The entrepreneurship journey is a completely different thing.
Yes.
Because it is a journey.
Yeah.
You're gonna grow. You're gonna develop. You're gonna delegate.
Yeah.
You're gonna hire. You're gonna outsource, and to a point where actually, if you're the skilled person,
Mm-hmm.
and if you're a creative person, then rightly so, you are always going to be involved in the business.
Yes.
But you could develop other people to do that too.
Yes.
They may not do it the same way that you would do it, but they can take some of that proportional work, and then you have a passive income because ultimately they are generating income too.
Yes.
But actually, if you're the visionary and it's around systems and processes, then you should be removing yourself from running the day-to-day operations at some point.
This is deep, and sometimes people may be just lost. And the best thing is as well you were talking about is always finding who's doing like that, who's in your circle, and removing yourself from that circle of those who are not going the same direction and going to the next. And I was just want a friend of mine who was watching Craig Moore, and I just realized he went off for 30 days. I'm sure he's going to laugh at me because I'm seeing him later on. 30 days. And he won't respond to the email or anything. And the business did not move, keep growing.
Yeah.
It probably work better without it.
Because people get
Craig, did you hear that?
Well, just because sometimes you cause blockages because
yes.
the minute you allow people to use their own initiative,
Yes.
don't forget, just because somebody works for it doesn't mean they don't see things differently. Their vision might be like that. Yours might have been there.
Yes.
And then all they've done is moved you 5 degrees.
Fantastic.
This is another source of revenue.
So we title it The Journey of an Entrepreneur. But you guys just mentioned entrepreneurship is a journey.
Yeah.
And most people think entrepreneurship is the destination.
No. It's just, it's almost like a trailer to the movie. You think, oh, I've done 3 minutes. You're like going, no, you just started. And now your real journey starts to begin. So what Benson said, there's two types in the business term, working on the business and working in the business. People don't realise when they reach a certain point where they have to let go. You go from controlling stuff to trust. And a lot of time, an event happens to the owner who's been doing everything that forces them out.
Mm.
The one that comes to mind is Ron Dennis of McLaren. So he's quite good, and he's a control freak, and he knew this. So he had to say standards. Then he had a car crash, and this was before McLaren got big, and he was out of traction. He was out. He was forced to trust his team without him being there on the shoulder. What happened was, like you gave an example, the production tripled. He went from working in the business to working on the business. And a lot of people, unfortunately, as they grow a business that's successful, their identity gets attached to that too much, and they don't want to let it go because then what? Who am I? Actually, you are now just growing, and part of growing is letting go.
Yeah.
Which means you now need to stop being who you've been.
Yeah.
And now be that next challenge.
I heard about that, the CEO syndrome.
Yep.
And you don't have to wait until you crash like McLaren.
No, but it's all about trust. Problems are going to happen. A lot of people don't want to deal with them until they happen. It's like either you're going to happen to life or life's going to happen to you.
Oh.
There you go. It's a deep coaching.
Repeat that one.
I think I went a bit coachy there. So yeah, either life is going to happen to you or you're going to happen to life.
Oh, either life going to happen to you or you're going to happen to life. Guys, for those who are listening, I hope you are writing down and listening to this. And again, this show is short and sweet. But as you say, it's a trailer to the movie. This is just an intro. You have an opportunity to get deeper into this. You have an opportunity to acquire all this knowledge. So because you have the individual are present here, these are living individuals. They have opened up saying they want to help you. And you have extra. You have a book done. You want to tell us about this book?
Yeah, okay. Well, we've got the camera. Is it that
yes, one? That one.
There we go, that one there. So yeah, so this is a culmination of several journeys. So My dad was an engineer in the railway, had the ability to visualize stuff, but his brain is very left. Very good at taking complex things and putting them into systems. He left when I was about 20, kind of semi-retired, decided he really wanted to take everything he knew and give it to the world in a business sense. So I worked with him for 12 years and we created a book together. Basically, it's visualizing business, how you can help yourself, but demystifying all the heavy stuff and putting it down to a simple yet powerful way so anybody can answer their own questions.
Yeah.
It's not about someone else's answer and you applying it to you. It's you going, hey, what piece do I need? How can I build that? And it's all simply done in a way that it doesn't matter if you're at school or you're an executive in a boardroom. It's applicable everywhere, even across borders, as I found out internationally. And it's available on Amazon. We've got an app which uses the visual tools. And the great thing is you can spend 20 minutes and use it in 20 meetings. So what's that worth to you? You can do something very quickly and show not only your understanding, but your knowledge.
Oh, wow. So you find where you can find them. You've mentioned it, but also we talked about what we're trying to do in Plymouth here. And I think this radio station, purpose of it is this to empower the community. And yourself, both of you coming here is that purpose. You are trying to speak to someone out there who might not have never heard about this. Because we know where we live, particularly in this area of Stonehouse, in the southwest, we still have a lot of community members who are really haven't got a clue of all this information. And even how to get to that book, it might be still scary. Or attending a networking, it might be, they think it's a bit out of their remit and out of their reach. And I think that's why you've always giving your time to come and trying to bring it in small chunk, like what we just talked about today. You know, if life is happening to you, you're happening to life.
That's where the choice comes.
You know, all this conversation we talk about. So this is where we're giving them a chunk by chunk, and we say you're more than happy for us to come back and talk about this book and start taking chunk by chunk.
Yeah, this is for the people.
Yeah.
I know it may have enterprise in the name, but again, as I said when I introduced myself, it's about who you are, not just what you do. And so we're starting with that question. Where are you? Where do you need to go? Here's a way you can do that yourself.
Yeah.
It's not hand-holding. It's literally going, you have enough, and it's you realising that, and now you're going to find your way. Because at the end of the day, if you're going to be successful, it's going to be you going to be successful, not someone doing it for you and you saying, hey, me too.
Now, if you live in Plymouth and you got this message and you feel like I could benefit from that, all right? Reach out to P-Town. We'll be able to help. DBI will be able to help. That's why we are here in the community. And that's why we're here to bring to you those who have that knowing, they walk the walk, and they want to give you that so we can be 5, 10, 20, 100 standing with this knowledge. But not only that, in this place of Peter, we have places where this is happening. And Benson, you run the BNI network. Plymouth, how many chapters do you have and how can people go there?
So I've got 7 business groups currently on the go at the moment. We've got 2 in Plymouth. One meets on a Friday at 7 o'clock in the morning and the other meets on a Wednesday at 10 o'clock in the morning. Benson at BNI, devon.co.uk. For anyone that's looking to explore, one, I want to get into business. What does that look like for me? And it might be that we're not the right solution for them, but actually just to understand the size of that opportunity. For anyone that's looking to acquire new clients, you have a choice. You can either build relationships and increase your visibility in the community through relationship of others, or do the work on your own. And I know which one's easier.
For the others.
I can invest in 18, 20 relationships, and you think about the power of their individual networks that I don't have any visibility in at all. And by investing time in building those relationships, I just need to educate them what the type of business I'm looking for. And they'll bring business to me. And it'll be reciprocal. It's a two-way thing. It's give us game.
Yeah.
And if you think that we go out there to help each other, then by default, we'll all win.
Oh,
When you take to be selfish and not to give back, then it becomes a lonely place.
Yeah.
But when you're both working to help each other to grow and create a pipeline of consistent business, then by default, you're on the same pathway. I think about the book, what the book does is for most people, they're encouraged to read books, but
Yes.
they don't understand the implementation.
How to use it, yeah.
This is a flat pack.
yes.
And what I mean by that is, historically, most people used to struggle to make flat packs because it was just a written instruction.
Yeah.
The minute they put pictures to it, people knew what the end result looked like. So therefore,
yes.
the pathway was, and actually, when you got to stage 2, you go, that doesn't look right.
No,
you can go back and start again.
Yes.
That is a flat pack version of the entrepreneur journey.
There you go. And it's in your hand, and you have ability to reach out to get it. And you heard it yourself. I'm talking to those listening to us. I know a few people have been listening, and people have been following, and they're going to be able to watch it later on because we are on both P-Town YouTube channel and as well as DBI YouTube channel. Some people, they might not be available now. They might watch it later on. Even on Facebook, it'll stay there. They're going to see it again. You heard it. If you're in Plymouth, you want to acquire these knowledges. You want to go with others to go on that next extra journey, even if it's not just to make money, but to personal developing yourself. Friday, 7 in the morning. Do you want to go? Reach out to me, and I'll take you off. Put also Benson's email there. Reach out to Benson. We'll see how we go there together. Or Wednesday, 10 in the morning, there's another chapter. But don't forget, this is our exclusive membership kind of. If your trade is gone, you have to wait for another chapter. Well, how do you know? Maybe it's not. And that space is there for you, please. So reach out to us and we'll be able to go with you and show how it's done. But also, Dan, we have the DBI networking we run once a month. And this we've been working together, where we're trying to bring people again in a room. You attended two, a couple of them, so last month and the month before, where you're finding the heart, the human part. And
it was people. Again, it's what we've been talking about here. You said about if you want to go far, go together. That's basically what you're saying. If you want to achieve something quick, then go alone. But you're going to be found out. What you've done, Jabo, is you've got a community skill set. Your talent is bringing people together. DBI, the networking thing, is all about feel. Those people that came into those rooms, you wouldn't find them in other ones. So you've created that space. But now it's like, hey, bring others to the room, and then that's help them help themselves. And with other pointing pieces, people have those questions. It's just allowing them to come in together and help each other. We're just doing it in a way that's not heavy lifting.
Wow. No heavy lifting way of doing it.
Show up, be you, ask your question, but there's places and people you can go to. So then you can grow into BNI.
Yes.
Because you've done the knowing.
Yes.
And then you can do the walking.
Yes. And then when you go there, you have the skills and you know how to walk it. Yeah. Wow, this is amazing. So we are again back on the Friday, end of this month. So follow BNI, follow DBI, and we'll be able to give you all the information and invitation. And Dan will be giving a snippet of this book, and we'll do a talk around.
Taster, but between now and the end of the month, and we can come back and have a chat. But you can have a look at my website, and you can find out stuff there because you can get a feel. When I said about is who you are, if you're going to really turn up to events, find out who's there and do the preparation. When preparation meets opportunity, that's success. Most people just show up and go, well, why not? And you go, no, do the 30 seconds. Find out who's there, who you want to talk to and why, and then start those relationships, because it's all about investing, not only just your time, but a bit of your, I would say, maturity. Have respect for the people in the room.
Yes.
But you have to also step forward first. Again, life can happen to you by you going into the room, but first you have to happen to life.
Yeah.
Do your prep. Be an adult and actually accountable, because you owe it not only to yourself, but the people you're talking to. Yeah. And once you establish that, the world will respond in kind.
Wow. Benson, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, I call it the redundancy question. If you
Yes.
so most people have an idea in their head and they want to do and pursue it, but they won't leave their current income. I understand that the pressures around that fiscal from you just got. But if you're made redundant today in your job, the chances are most people that are entrepreneurial will start to pursue something because they've got a bit of money to go away and do it, and they can justify it because they're no longer in an employed job. So the redundancy question is, if you were made redundant today, what would you do? Because actually then that helps you understand what the pain point is. Is it money, or is it a great business idea, or actually I don't know how to scale this up. It's something that I think will work in the marketplace, but ultimately, would it feed you? And if it won't feed you, it's a nice idea. But ultimately, okay, most people have to scale past their own community to get sustainable business growth. And what most people do, especially in the social environment, social enterprise, is that they have ideas that only retain themselves within that social enterprise, and it's not scalable.
Wow.
So it's a nice idea. It's a cottage industry.
Yes.
So it's an additional income. It's not. Yeah.
Wow. A lot of information there. So tune again and listen to us. Unfortunately, we're running out of time. We're not running out of time. I think we've given the right time and the right information for people to chew on and digest it and then come back again so that we can have this conversation. But if you have any question, please don't hesitate to reach out to P-Town Radio, Google it, and you'll find us. We're there. Or reach out to DBI. We'll be able to answer your question or signpost you. We always do this before we're finishing our chat. One is we appreciate and we say thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
For your time. We really mean it, and we appreciate you because it's very building us. It's building. I'm benefiting myself. I've heard a lot, and I'm looking at them, implementing them. But also those listening to us, I'm sure they're learning and they're saying thank you. But before we go, we're always trying to leave our listeners with a quote or a proverb or a wise word or a sentence or something you've heard somewhere else you want to share with them. So if I give you like a 5 seconds to think about it, and we'll come back then and have that. But I want to say thank you for those who have been listening to us. I know our friend Stephen Ajay was listening from Heathrow. We had a few people watching from around the world. I'm just going on to find who's been watching and who's been live. And so we have so many people watching, and we say thank you to all of you who've been listening and watching us. Craig, Hamza, Eriti, and all of those who've been watching. So thank you so much for being consistent listeners. So coming back to you, Dan, give us a wise word, or what would you like to say to our listeners?
Well, it's a quote I've used this year, and it applied to me since COVID, really, because it was like a snow globe. The world got shook up, and there was no certainty to anything. And being a coach, people think you have all the answers, and actually you're just like a human. So I found a quote that I had for years, but it applied to me and actually a lot of the people that I've helped over the last 3 years. And it's from Alan Turing, the guy who cracked the Enigma code in World War II, and he did the Enigma machine and all that kind of stuff. And he said, sometimes it is the people that no one imagines anything of that do the things that no one can ever imagine.
Right.
And that is literally an interesting metaphor of my life, because everybody told me one thing and I did another, and look where I am now. And that's basically, if you want to use it as like a tone through life, that's my kind of tone. And that's how I help people, is I look for those who are like that and allow them to shift that gear and realize you're better than you think you are. Here you go. Imagine you. And it's just that 1% move in a different direction. You realize the light's in.
Yeah.
Off they go.
Okay.
And they do things literally no one can ever imagine.
Can you repeat that quote?
Yeah.
So that
sometimes it's the people no one imagines anything of that do the things no one can imagine.
Is that you? Benson, coming to you.
I think for me, the one thing I would suggest is quite often we ask the wrong people for advice on how to get going or a business idea. And I think if you're looking for someone to pat you on the shoulder and encourage you, don't ask the people where you already know what the response is going to be. Get people to challenge what it is that you're thinking. And I think for me personally, certainly within BNI, there's a quote from Maya Angelou, and she says, it's about the way you make people feel. No one's interested about you, but actually what's the impact you can have on others.
Yes.
And if you understand that if we all try and help, even say, I'm not really sure that, but let me try and signpost you somewhere else, or go and do something that can help advance that individual, then you made them feel better. Don't tell people that their idea isn't going to work. Okay? Help them understand what it's going to take to make it work. It's far more advantage for me.
Yeah. I think you touched on it earlier on. You talk about the envy, the jealousy, and all those fruits which are not helpful. And Maya Angelou says people forget how you they forget who you are, what you give them, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. Yeah,
but also,
that's Maya Angelou.
Going back around, you're getting answers to where not to go.
Yeah.
And a lot of people go back to the same place like you do and ask the same question, expect a different answer. And that's actually definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over again, expect different results. But that's maturity. It's going, I know what that is. I now need to ask a different question, maybe over here.
Yeah.
But it's also listen to what's being said to you, not what you think is being said. Everyone kind of has got selective hearing. And you go, slow down. No, this is what's being told to you. Okay, it doesn't fit you. There's your answer. It's all about relationships.
Yeah.
But also maybe you just need to ask the real question. Most people want to dance around it. No, be straight and go, I don't know what I'm doing. Really, me too. Great. Oh, hang on. What's happened here?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's that authenticity and empathy, which is what Benson's basically talking about, that people dismiss, but actually it's the most important part. But it's something you do quite naturally, which is why you've got friends. And just so happens for what we do here too.
Oh, thank you very much, Dan, for that. Thank you very much, Benson, and for all those who've been listening. Until then, we are back here next Friday, 12 to 1. And from myself and Tendai, we want to say, have a good day. It's not
too late.
It's not too late, but it's getting late. So get on. Have a wonderful Friday and enjoy.